The Kia Niro has been in the dealership for over a year now, but in the last few months a plug-in version has come to market. Thanks to Vantage Kia Scarborough, we are probably one of the first to receive this car for test. This is our second test drive of a plug-in car, but this time with the benefit of a fully charged battery from the outset. This means we were able to experience the genuine driving range in electrical mode, which is really just a gimmick. But I'll tell you more about that in the technical part of today's test. So, what is the Niro Plug In? Do the extra batteries make sense? And is it worth the extra spend to drive economically? You will find the answers to these questions and many others in today's test. The Niro doesn't stand out as anything special from the outside, particularly when compared to the class competitor CHR model from Toyota. From the front, we can tell right away that this car is a Kia, even without looking at the badge. The front lamps look a little like those on the Rio, which we reviewed a while ago. The car has a nicely profiled bonnet, together with a sizable bumper featuring a characteristic grille set into it. On both sides of the bumper, we find interestingly designed air intakes, and a combination of both daytime running lights and front fog lamps. The bottom of the bumper is finished with chrome edging and blue accent detailing, indicative of its status as an electric or hybrid vehicle. The side profile of the car has a very subtle design, with a deep gorge in the bottom of the door, and additional chrome features to spice up its silhouette. Moving to the rear of the Niro, there is nothing deserving of criticism at all. The shape of the LED lights are similar to the previous generation Sportage, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, or at least I don't think so, anyway. The rear bumper, much like the front, is edged in polished chrome and accented with blue colouring, typical of a hybrid vehicle. As you would expect, the car is unlocked with a remote fob, but less obvious is that the Kia Niro has a key. A car driven by the future with a gadget of the past. It certainly feels like a sentimental touch to attract the older driver. The upper part of the door is made of imitation leather, quite pleasant to the touch and gently bending under the finger. The armrest and leather handles are soft and nicely finished, with distinctive white stitching. The bottom panel of the door is hard plastic, and here we have a large pocket in which we can easily fit a typical 500ml bottle, and even a large travel cup. The driver's seat is electrically adjustable, although the passenger is limited to manual adjustment only, at least in this model anyway. To the right of the steering wheel, you can find controls for adjusting the dashboard backlight, light regulation, traction control toggle, and activation of the pedestrian warning sound in electrical mode. Below are the buttons for the timer and automatic charging of the battery, and also the button to open the fuel cap. Hidden away behind a discrete panel just below that is the vehicle fuse box. As I mentioned earlier, we start the car with a key. When we turn the key, we hear that characteristic sound, and in front of us between the speedo and range display, we see our Niro is scanned by the system. The onboard computer then tells us information from the last journey, in this case 1.7 miles in hybrid mode and fuel consumption of 37 miles per gallon. These journey stats have been affected by us moving the car around for the video, causing the consumption to increase, but that's not too surprising. The onboard trip computer menu is exactly the same as other Kia models. By clicking on the link above, you can see the presentation of the onboard computer and the multimedia system. A few words about the clocks. On the right side is the speedometer, illuminated in white, and what I really like is in the lower part we see the Eco plug-in sign, which acts as a subtle reminder of what kind of car we're driving. The clock on the left is actually the main display. On the outside we have three parts. The bottom part tells us about the energy recovery while driving, the middle shows us how economically we're driving, and the upper shows us our sudden acceleration. Inside the range display is our battery level, the number of miles that we can drive in EV mode at the bottom, and the distance we can drive with petrol, but it's actually in hybrid mode, and in the middle is the number of miles until the next refueling. The dashboard is made from the same material as the upper part of the door. In front of the passenger is an interesting looking plastic with an imitation aluminium finish. The central part is a piano black plastic coated touchscreen, while similar plastic is mounted on the door and the bottom of the steering wheel. Going back to the central part of the dashboard, we have a touchscreen here with a detailed description of each function in the link above. But now let's focus on what may interest us the most, the energy data. Press the Eco PHEV on the left and the first thing we see is the general average consumption since the last reset, and on the right the level of remaining battery charge. We go into the combustion, here we are shown the fuel level consumption, then the eco level, and here the car has given us a good rating of 4. Next, mileage. What we have here is the history of all routes and average consumption. Here we see our best recorded fuel consumption at a staggering 170 miles per gallon. In the bottom left, we see the number of miles that we can drive in EV mode, in this case 0 miles, and another feature in the menu is the battery charging settings. A particularly useful feature on this particular car is the ability to find the location of nearby charging points. Innovative though this may be, it appears it's already behind on updates, as I know there is a charging point at Lidl which is only 3 miles away, and it isn't displayed here. Kia haven't been elitist either. Alongside displaying nearby charge points, this car will also be able to find the nearest conventional petrol station, because hybrids need petrol too. Finally, the energy information on the left shows the total range capability at the current time. In this case, it's displaying this capability on petrol only. The estimated charging time is displayed on the right. The first value refers to the estimated charging time in public access charging points, while the second is based on charging from a 230 volt socket typically found at home. Let's return to the Niro's interior. The touchscreen includes a panel for operating the multimedia system with an SD card slot. Underneath the panel is the airflow and a dual zone climate control. Below the climate control is a 12 volt cigarette lighter style socket, USB and auxiliary ports, and right at the bottom is the inductive wireless charger for a compatible smartphone. The automatic 2-clutch gear stick, with buttons to change from hybrid to EV mode, is found in its usual place, and at its base a switch to disable the parking sensor sound. Looking back a little more and we see the 3-step buttons for front seat heating and the heated steering wheel, and of course there are 2 cup holders, with our official test bottle fitting comfortably alongside a thermal travel mug. When we open the armrest, we're surprised to find another USB socket illuminated in red. A quick test of the depth of the armrest storage, and another surprise, our official test bottle lands in the middle perfectly. Test completed. And not to forget the small anti-skid slot found just in front of the armrest, perhaps to leave some loose change. Let's check the storage in front of the passenger. The glove compartment storage could be bigger, but the space is sufficient for the owner's manual and locking wheel nuts. Let's look up. The standard handles and sun visors with inset mirror and vanity lighting should not surprise anyone, of course, as in most of the models across the Kia brand, we need to illuminate ourselves. Next, we have the usual interior light and storage for glasses. Pay attention to its depth, and of course, the interior is lined with material. The seats in the Niro are very comfortable. The seat is wide and long. It's worth noting the height adjustment of the headrests in the front seats. We have as much as 5 degrees of height. Here, even a very tall driver will have no reason to complain. In addition, the headrests are very soft and comfortable. The height adjustment of seat belts are also without reservation. The seats have very good lateral grip, which is felt from the first few moments spent in the car. Let's go back to the armrest for a moment. The armrest is not as soft as the headrest, probably because we only have a few millimeters of foam under the upholstery, and unfortunately its position is not adjustable. Of course, we have a multifunction steering wheel, which is a familiar feature from other Kia models. Let's take a look in the back. The rear part of the cab does not differ from the front, except for the upper part of the door, which is covered with hard plastic. Apart from that, it has the soft leather armrest finished in the same piano black as the front door, and at the bottom there is enough room for our official test bottle. In addition, we have air vents, pockets in the form of mesh for trinkets and maps, and one interior light in the headliner. We also have an armrest that is noticeably softer than the front and comes with 2 cup holders. On top of that, we have an adjustable 2 and 3 stage headrest for each of the back seats, which are also very soft. The side supports are a little weaker than those in the front seats, however this doesn't affect the rear seat performance overall, with a clear 5-star rating. The back also features 2 overhead handles, the handle on the right side also including a small hook. Adjusting the steering wheel allows us to get into any position with plenty of legroom and headroom. Let's see how much space will remain above my head when the seat lifts up to the top. Even in this position, I do not touch the roof. At the back, it's better than I thought. Sitting behind the driver's seat, I still have a place for my legs, and over my head is also no problem, having enough room for 4 fingers. The boot capacity is 324 litres. Is that small? I don't think so. A major plus is the low loading threshold, and the folding of seats happens in one smooth motion, so doing it is very simple from the boot. When the back seats are folded, we get a flat floor with a capacity of 1,322 litres. In the boot, we find 2 bags with cables. The exact description and dimensions of the boot you will find in the technical part of this model. To see, please click the link above. Under the hood of the Niro, you will find a 1.6 litre GDI petrol engine featuring 104 brake horsepower. With the electric motor, the power rises to 147 brake horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute. This particular engine works with a DCT twin-clutch 6-speed automatic transmission. At Auto Start Test, we are very fortunate that the plug-in model has come to us direct from the factory. When picking up this model, I wasn't sure what to expect, and from the outside, the car's not as striking as its Toyota CHR competitor, but a subdued silhouette can appeal to someone who does not like to stand out from the crowd. My impression of the Niro changed as soon as I got inside. The overall interior design of the vehicle is excellent. The car travels comfortably, and the flexible seat and steering adjustment options are ideal, even for the taller driver. The driving experience is a positive one. With hybrid mode, we move silently, but when needed, the internal combustion engine helps its electric counterpart. What's noteworthy is the very quiet interior, making the ride that much more comfortable. When adding acceleration, there are no unexpected engine noises, and when driving smoothly, the eco indicator rarely travels around the power mark. The engine can emit a strange sound on winding roads while driving at low speed. In such situations, by gradually depressing the accelerator, you feel a slight release in the gearbox, and it's at that point that the engine sounds like it has cooperated with the ENG CVT gearbox, but it takes no time at all, and after a quick change, everything returns to normal. The power steering is light, pleasant, and perfectly adapts to our speed. The lane assistant works accurately, even on roads with fading white lines. EV mode can save us money. You only need to cut back the time needed to charge the battery. To find out more about driving in EV mode and charging the battery, you can look at our EV mode test on the link under the video and on our channel. In summary, the Kia Niro Plug In is an excellent proposition for anyone looking for a car that's economical and at a reasonable price for hybrid technology. The car is surprisingly positive, and we found it difficult to find shortcomings or defects. The drive is smooth and pleasant. Low fuel consumption from hybrid mode and the benefit of additional batteries will allow us to enjoy consumption stats of up to 170 miles per gallon. I would like to invite you to watch the technical part and the battery test to find out more about the EV mode. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself and your 4 wheels.